Everyone was euphoric. Trump is going to come in. He's going to pump the stock market so that it goes up to infinity. Same with crypto as well. But what happened was the opposite. Everything fell.
What do you expect the market to move in the next, let's say 6 to 7 months?
Because we know liquidity is one of the biggest influences of markets.
That you can't predict everything. You need to have
And every time we saw a big crash on the dollar, it was the start of a new liquidity cycle and things going up again.
All right, Jack. So I think one of the most important topics right now is just to get an understanding of what the current market looks like. Because a lot of people out there are wandering around and feeling okay, what is about to happen? How hard will the tariffs hit the market, or how hard will the tariffs will hit the market in the future? And yeah, let's just give them some clarity. Clarity for the things that are about to come. I know it's a
mess.
It's a mess. So gaining clarity right now is not that easy, I would say.
Yeah, so if I should sum it up right now, and we're talking about the crypto markets, but obviously they're heavily influenced by politics and what is happening in the stock market as well.
Yeah.
And if I could summarize it all into one word, at the moment, it's just uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right? Because leading to the Trump coming into office the 20th of January, which was the absolute top of the market, everyone was euphoric. The consensus play was, okay, Trump is going to come in and he's going to pump our back. He's going to pump the stock market and moon it, that it goes up to infinity. Same with crypto as well. But what happened was the opposite. Everything fell. We had some aggressive tariffs coming in, which means that on every country, Trump just said, hey, you're not giving us what I want. You're going to get 25% tariffs. You're going to get 50% tariffs. Everyone gets tariffs until I get what I want. So this was kind of unexpected, the magnitude of his tariffs and how aggressive he would be.
Yeah.
But all in all, this just, it stirred a big mix of uncertainty because it was very unpredictable. He didn't lay out a roadmap. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. He had a general game plan, but it was just on random Tuesday, boom, we're putting 25% on aluminum and steel. We posted 50% here, 20.
Yeah.
You get 25%, you get 25%. So it was very brutal, very rough, and a fun fact as well. I don't remember if it was for the S&P 500 or crypto. I believe it was for the S&P 500. It was the 5th worst day where the prices crashed 10% or more. Now let me reformulate this. It was one of the fastest crashes of 10% from the S&P 500 in history.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it comes at 5th place.
It's just crazy to see everyone was expecting such a bullish market environment when he gets into office, but in the end it turned out to be a big nothing burger, at least for now. I think he is still paving the way for a huge bull run, not just in crypto but also in every other asset class as well. But yeah, it's just the term uncertainty, I think I never heard it as much as in the past couple of weeks. So everyone is talking about uncertainty, but what is uncertainty? What does it really mean? Why are people bearish because of uncertainty?
So uncertainty, there's a saying that uncertainty is more bearish than bearishness. And that can be true because we also use in our analyses, I think you showed me this indicator. It's a great indicator, the uncertainty index.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, almost at an all-time high or one of the highest metrics ever.
It's basically, it looks like the altcoin season that we all wished for.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we could long that.
Yeah, exactly.
We needed futures for the uncertainty. No, but basically, when you have a downtrend, everyone expects the economy to go down. When we have an uptrend, everyone expects it to go up.
Yeah.
So it's all about expectation and expectation management, right?
Yeah.
Because if I expect the market to go down and then it goes down, it doesn't hurt me as much as where I'm not sure if we're in a bullish regime or if we're in a bearish regime. What should I do with my portfolio right now? And then you tend to be super emotional.
Yeah.
Whereas the emotions are dampened down when you know, okay, I think it's likely that we will go up. You just buy, and then you buy the dips.
Yeah.
You know, it's like quite easy, and you expect it to go up, and then the market does what you expect.
Yeah.
But when it goes down as well, you're like, okay, I don't think we're in a bear market, everything topped. Obviously it hurts, but you know where you are in this cycle.
You had a general direction.
It's all about expectations versus reality.
Yeah.
And right now it's just like, I thought we had a bull market, but things are going down, and then you rethink everything. Like, are we still in a bull market? Is this a bear market? Is this the top or not?
Yeah.
Like, for us, we've got systems right now, and we know how to handle that, but it's very rough for people out there at the moment.
Yeah, and one thing that you also need to understand is like when institutions are not certain about like the next 6 or 7 months, what they do is like de-risk.
Yep.
So they go into the most certain asset right now, which is just bonds. So
Like, you're not going to hold shit coins or risk
Exactly.
assets if you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah, and like especially like for altcoins, so like every huge investor only invests into altcoins when they have a certain, or at least like a high possibility of altcoins going up in the future. And this only happens when retail investors have money and gamble on our beloved shitcoins. So if this is not the case, and if we don't see like a liquidity injection from retail investors in the near future, like they will de-risk every altcoin position they have. And yeah, when you have a low liquidity market, those de-risk moves can be pretty brutal. And that's basically what we saw over the past couple of weeks.
Very aggressive selling. That
Yeah.
was the thing. It went down a lot and fast.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also like people like there were not just institutions who de-risked it, but also like retail investors. Like they expected a crazy buying from the US government for Bitcoin because like the strategic reserve is coming and stuff like this. Yes, it is. It is there. Like we have a strategic reserve right now. No one knows how big it is.
Yeah.
But we have a strategic reserve, and like, but people were expecting like huge buy orders from the US government, more or less directly after Trump got into office. So I think like when you have a lot of expectations not met, this leads just to huge sell-offs. So yeah.
Yeah, it's this aggressiveness, you know, once it goes down, then you have a lot of emotionality, a lot of fear. This is basically what markets are.
Yeah.
You have a fair value. Like, why are markets, you know, there's this hypothesis that markets are efficient and that everything is already priced in.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if you have a fair value, the fair value can be driven up by greed and can be driven down by panic.
Yeah.
So this is also where opportunity lies ahead. And obviously, when things crash, there's a lot of fear, a lot of emotions coming in because people don't have systems in place. They don't have indicators that show them where we are right now. And then obviously, if you only rely on your emotions, you know what's going to happen. If you see prices going down, and also media is a leverage on your emotions.
Yeah.
Social media, like if you go on Twitter, everyone's losing money, then you're going to be like, holy shit, like everyone's losing money, everyone's talking about recession, and then you're much more likely to sell than if you just look at your raw data, at your systems, what is my mentor saying, you know. So it's hard for people out there to make rational decisions.
Yeah, especially like, and this gets more and more important when you are in a retail-driven market, like the altcoin market.
Yeah.
So when you have a retail-driven market, then like the sentiment affects prices even more. When you look at the Magnificent Seven, for example, like of course they also dumped, especially like Tesla and Nvidia, but
Brutal.
they are more or less priced to perfection. So if you want to like have a general outlook on what is really happening, then you look at those 7 stocks, and then you compare that with the altcoin market, and you just see like how much emotion is in this market.
Crazy, yeah.
And yeah, I think like let's go into what is about to come. Like, what do you expect the market to move in the next, like, let's say 6 to 7 months? Like, because in the short term, like another thing, like in uncertain markets or in uncertain times, to predict short-term moves is close to impossible.
Yeah.
Because like there are so many variables that influence prices and general like sentiment that you can't predict everything. Like you need to have like a supercomputer at home who's like analyzing all different social media platforms and events that are happening. So in the short term, like let's just focus on the midterm, because I think that's where like the biggest opportunities lie.
Yeah. So yeah, as with everything, predictions are quite hard to do.
Yeah.
But I believe like my systems right now are telling me to buy along at the moment.
Yeah.
But this could change very fast.
Yeah.
So as it stands right now, it's long, around the 80K area. So I believe if you also look at what's happening in the macro, if you just look at data, if you look at just the liquidity going up, because we know liquidity is one of the biggest influences of markets. You've got liquidity, which is number one. Then you've got like inflation and growth, which are also super important on asset prices. So I look a lot at liquidity, and things are slowly starting to get better.
Yeah.
Also, the dollar had a massive crash. Like, we can call it a crash, right? Obviously, but it didn't go to zero. But there was a big down move, and it confirmed the downtrends in my eyes. And every time we saw a big crash on the dollar, it was the start of a new liquidity cycle and things going up again. So these are two signs, good signs, where we could see markets slowly reacting, but markets can be slow to react, especially in uncertainty. If liquidity goes up, I saw a lot of bullshit on Twitter, like, the M2 is going up, and they just looked at the mean of that, of liquidity getting injected into the markets, and Bitcoin pumped 70 days after that. But I'm like, man, this is the mean. This could be like the most extreme cases where an immediate reaction or 6 months, right? So if you always choose the mean, but prices are going to go up after 6 months, you're wrecked.
Yeah,
or
100%.
if you take the 70 days mean, but the market reacts directly, then you're wrecked as well because you didn't buy.
It's like trying to listen, like when you listen to social media gurus telling you anything about like the M2 index or something like that. Like you can, most of the time, like we don't look at social media anymore to gather alpha, like especially like in those data-driven areas. We only look at raw data, and this is exactly what you should do as well. And then you would also, like the level of uncertainty is still high when you do that, but it's way lower than when you just look at social media and see one guy on YouTube talking about the crash. Like people were talking about it.
You shouldn't rely on other people. Like, why would you rely on other people?
100%. It's like, but I also understand.
I understand,
Yeah. So especially when you don't have like the level of knowledge about a specific market, like gaining insights from people who are doing nothing else like we do, then of course, like you listen to those guys. But in the end, like I will also post a reel about that topic. When this podcast comes out, there will be a reel about this topic. Like every coin that got chilled by those influencers, like all are down by massive numbers.
90%.
So if you don't have, like, the problem is, like, even if they talk about a good coin, you don't have their systems. You don't know when they buy, when they sell, what their thesis is. And often, like, the fundamental or the general analysis that they are doing is just dog shit.
That's, with macro and, as you said, also with coins as well. But just to come back to the question where I think we're going is like short, like, because I was talking about liquidity is starting to go up and it's starting to look good. But right now we're in a super bearish market environment, which means that until the market realizes that and prices that in, it could take longer. So it could take up to 1, 2, 3 months until the market really realizes that, even though, it's hard to make short-term predictions, but I think after 1 month, you can slowly see, prices going back up again. Yeah. But however, I think just to sum it up, like short-term, still uncertainty and bearishness, especially in the S&P 500. Yeah. There's no bottom formation on the chart as of today, but I see some good first signs of recovery. But again, like, if we see a recovery, it can be like, until we see the recovery, markets could crash down more. So you need to know a bit how to play it. But if you only look at the long term, I think especially for Bitcoin, like 70 to 80K is a steal. And I think we go well above 100K in the next 12 months. Yeah. So
It all depends like on the time frame.
Depends on time frame, yeah.
100%. And one principle for you guys, like in bearish market environments, you don't want to try to catch the knife. Like you don't want to be the first who enters altcoins at the perfect bottom, because like a very tiny percentage of people is actually able to do that. And I just heard that, but you're also reading the book Market Wizards, right?
Yes.
And those people were trying to time the market, right?
Yes.
Imagine, like, I think 14 people, or he talks about 14 investors in the book, right?
I think, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and
I don't remember the number exactly.
13 blowed up their funds.
Yeah.
So timing the market on a long time horizon is close to impossible.
Yes.
So the better strategy is just to look at like confirmed moves in a specific direction. As long as you don't have a confirmation, you stay in secure assets and wait for times to get better.
Yep.
And I think like one thing that I personally look at is like you already talked about, like the liquidity injection from the federal or from the government in general. I think, like as you said, like times we see better and better numbers coming out, and there are also predictions that we are likely going to see in June or July a rate cut. So this could be like the first like event that brings back certainty into this very uncertain market, and this could actually be a very, very good time to get back into the right assets. And this is what I personally believe. Like from what I've seen till now, I believe that we could see a bottom like in the middle of the summer. But for me personally right now, it's very important to understand, okay, what assets do I want to buy when this happens? And like you read the book, like the next 5 steps, or the most important, or the next 5 steps, I think is a book. Yeah. And for me, when I put that concept into crypto, like I'm already thinking about, okay, how will my portfolio look like when I see this confirmed bottom? So I don't have to think about what I'm going to buy when we actually see the bottom. So yeah, just from my side, to give you some of my ideas. All right, I think we talked about the markets and everything. Do you have any other topic that you think is like important?
I mean, I could talk 5 hours about the market, but in short, I think that's what's happening. Short term, still kind of risk off with the portfolio, but slowly, like long Bitcoin always.
Yeah.
And I think things will get better. And also, if you look at everything the U.S. government is doing, is so bullish. Like
100%. Yeah, true. We could talk about the regulation.
If just from the regulation perspective and the positive crypto news, like to me, it's so mind blowing because we're getting them almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I remember only one of them in the past would have made the price moon. But right now, we're the market already priced that in, that we're going to be super pro crypto, the government.
Yeah.
But every day I'm seeing new headlines and I'm like, wow, mid-term to long term, like, and they have an incentive. Like if you look at the politicians who are in it, it's all like one big group and they have an incentive for crypto to go up. 100%. So mid to long term, I'm still super long, super bullish, and short term is still uncertain.
Yeah.
But we will always look just at our systems and
exactly. Like
don't rely on emotions.
Yeah, you just need like a proper strategy for every like market environment. Like I've made a video about that, like talking about when you should hold altcoins and when you should de-risk. I will link it somewhere here so you can also watch it, because it's like I see a lot of people still holding a bunch of altcoins and riding like the complete downward movement. With 50% of their portfolio, which is like mind blown to me, because like, of course, as you said, like mid to long term, we are bullish, but in the short term, you should also like the thing that you should optimize for is capital preservation. So as soon as we see this bottom and as soon as we see this opening to go into altcoins, you will just have much more leverage when you like in times like right now, when you focus on just keeping the value of your portfolio as close to the current point in time. So right now it's just like important to look at capital preservation and not at, okay, where can I make like the next big trade? Right now it's not the time to look out for opportunities to make money, but to just sit and do nothing. Yeah. or not nothing, but in terms of active positions that you buy and purchase, but whether like Bitcoin, stable coins, and then slowly move your funds into altcoins as soon as you see like a confirmed move.
Yeah, that's what we talked about a little bit. Like, can you even hold altcoins for the long term? Do you like? There is not a single cryptocurrency that has outperformed Bitcoin for longer than maybe 1 year. I don't even think 2 years. Maybe if you look at ETH and Sol, I'm not sure, but maximally 2 years. So the only strategies, and at the moment, but we always have to be forward looking. This is what you said, which was very smart. So, and we have millions and millions of coins out there. The inflation is astronomical. Like, how do you do that? How do you know which ones to hold and not? And can you even hold altcoins? I don't know if it's a topic for this video. But
we could talk about it for a quick second. So, like we just covered that before the podcast. So, like I believe through the regulations, we finally create an environment for founders to create strong real projects that could lead to what I've called it like the ChatGPT moment of crypto. So because we have a clear regulatory framework, founders are not scared to create stuff in crypto and create also like financial products, like for example, like Ina is doing. So when you want to hold coins for the long term, or especially altcoins, you are looking for coins that use crypto to such an extent that they just become better products in general. So, for example, Hyperliquid is another example. So you have a project which is offering futures 24/7. So this is not possible in the traditional financial world. So you just have a better product. So Hyperliquid is just a better future product, or a better way for people to trade futures. And we see that with the adoption of Hyperliquid. Is the coin the best to buy right now? I don't think so. But will it be a wise investment at some point in time? The chances or the probability there is higher than in most altcoins which got founded like in the past 7 years. So I believe like everything which is like getting created in the crypto space right now through the better regulations is actually like, this is one thing that I'm watching very closely, like products which are just better products. And I believe that the regulatory framework that we see right now will not directly lead to a huge capital injection from retail investors, but what is about to get created out of it. So when we see, like, let's just think for a second that we have a crypto app which gains mass adoption. What do you think will happen to the overall altcoin market?
Probably goes up, or will be somehow correlated, I believe, because crypto is heavily correlated, but it also depends on the market phase and how long it pumps.
Yeah,
all that. So it's a bit hard to say.
But let's just think for a second, like what ChatGPT or what the AI hype was after ChatGPT got created. And in crypto, you had no real AI product which was close to being.
We did have a ChatGPT moment.
Exactly. Crypto had no ChatGPT moment yet. And I believe this could lead to a huge retail injection into the altcoin market. And I also believe that, like, going away from the regulatory perspective, like when you are aiming on a huge altcoin season, you want retail to have money. And I don't believe that Fed lowering the interest rates will directly lead to a huge capital injection from retail. I believe it will lead to a capital injection from institutions, and I think institutions will not buy altcoins right now. So I believe BTC should still play a huge part in your portfolio for that reason. But I also see some catalysts in the future where retail gets money from the US government, like for example, when the Doge savings, for example, go back into the hands of retail investors. And this should be the moment where you directly go all into altcoins, because when we just think back to Corona and the capital injection from the US government back then, like this was tiny in comparison to what an altcoin season would look like in today's crypto environment.
Yeah, and to capitulate on that and to make the most returns, you just need to be adaptable, dynamic, because and you need to know when to get in and when to get out, and it's
100%.
almost impossible to do without a system.
Yeah.
Without knowing how to do. But yeah, I could talk about the altcoin market in general for hours as well.
Yeah, true. We could go to the next topic because I think it's like you guys have a pretty good understanding of what goes, like what we think about the market right now.
Let's give them some active advice for now, where they are right now.
Okay.
What did you notice?
So I did a lot of portfolio reviews in the past couple of weeks. So I saw a lot of people still holding onto altcoins in bearish market phases, and they don't want to realize losses. And they, like, the typical thing that they say is like, as long as I don't sell, I haven't lost money. So this is like the first thing that you should understand. Like when your price or when your altcoin goes down, even if you don't sell, you already lost money. So holding onto old altcoins that performed, especially narrative coins, if they don't have fundamental value, like no one will care about them in the next couple of months. So secure the portfolio value that you have right now in order to have maximum leverage as soon as we see things turning to the better. This would be one advice from my side. But we also talk a lot with the people inside of Crypto Game Plan, and like maybe you have also some ideas that you could share that help the viewers out there.
Yeah, so obviously we've helped and we've worked with like hundreds and hundreds of people, and obviously, like you said, one of the most like common thing is the loss aversion bias.
Yeah.
Because you put in so much work, you put in so much time, maybe you even joined the community and you put in so much work, and then when the coin goes down and objectively, if 100 people would look at it and tell you it's bad, but you're the only one holding it and you remember, I put so much time in it, so much effort in it. We humans are not designed, a loss hurts more to us, to our ego, to our pride, to everything than a gain, right? It is factually true. A loss hurts you more than a gain makes you happy.
Yeah.
So we react very bad to negative events, and it hurts ourselves in our deep soul.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, if the coin is down, they still want to hold on it, even though if it's not the right decision or move to make.
Yeah.
So now it's like the question, okay, it's down so much, should you de-risk or not? Like this is what I got from a lot of people. And now you've got two categories of altcoins. You've got some that went down 80, 90% and that will come back and actually make all-time highs and be the superstars. Then you have some that will go up and then maybe they will go to the all-time high again, which they had previously, and then they will go to zero, or they will have small bounces and then go to zero eventually. So the first advice that I give a lot of people is like, wait for a bounce. Do not sell capitulation. Do not sell absolute fear.
Yeah.
Do not sell when everyone is screaming recession, recession. Altcoins are going to zero, only buy Bitcoin, right? You sell at least when you see a bounce, right? It can be 10%, 20%, 30%, but that's a lot of money. If you've got I don't know how big the portfolios are, but on a 100K portfolio, or if you have a 100K position in shitcoin, 30% is 30 grand.
Yep.
So at least wait for a bounce, sell then. And I would reevaluate the thesis that you have about your altcoin, because as I told you, there's millions of altcoins out there. So you need to be sure that you're holding the right ones. You need to be sure, do you know if it's in the fundamental category, which Robin said, which will enable big investors to buy it for a long time, or is it a narrative play? And if it's a narrative play, why are you holding it for the long term anyways?
Yeah.
Right? So if it's a narrative play, you should maximally hold it for 6 months. If you're lucky, maybe 1% chance for 12 months. Do not hold onto your altcoins for a long period of time unless it's a good one. And the thing is, I notice with a lot of people, and I don't want to sound mean, but they're kind of arrogant. They think they know the markets better than some experts do.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I've done so much research. I'm sure my altcoin is the one. And I just look at it, I'm just like, man, I wish it was. And I want the best for you, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I know you think all of that, but so they think they are holding the right coins, but they're not. The markets are ruthless and they're forward looking. we know approximately what's going to go up. And we have a dedicated research team to that in Crypto Game Plan. So it's hard. It's hard to pick the right altcoins. There's millions of them out there.
Yeah.
But you need to be sure, first of all, which altcoins to hold. And then to manage your entries and exits, I must say that I could have managed my exit better with altcoins and de-risking to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But now what we're doing, and that's also what I'm telling everyone, losses are one of the best things that can happen to you, or maybe the best thing that can happen to you. Because for me, I lost a little bit more money than I should have, or I would ideally have, right? If I compare myself to others, I probably, my portfolio is much better. But now what did I do? This made me angry. And now I'm working all in to fine tune my systems even more, to make it even better and to become a better investor, because I'm here for the long term. I will stay here for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and I will become one of the biggest and best crypto investors there is out there, right? So it's good. When things go south, okay, better system, talk with smarter people, boom. And that's, if you do it continually, 5, 10, 20 years,
100%. I think this is also something that people need to realize. Like you already said, like losses are actually one of the best things that can happen to you, because like this helps you to improve your processes. And like we have this as the next like talking topic, and your transition was perfect.
Thank you.
But how do we deal with losses? Because we also make them. Like I could have exited my Bitcoin position. I was mostly in Bitcoin because I was traveling all the time. Like I couldn't enter like high risk positions because for the past 2 months I was in the jungle and was like going over rivers and was flying all around the world. So I couldn't really like enter like high risk positions. And in the end it was like a blessing. So I held mostly Bitcoin. And what I realized is when I sold a bit too late, I sold around the $87,000 level. So this was actually the moment where I realized, okay, I had a process in place, but it wasn't like evaluating the political circumstances the right way. So when I had this loss, I didn't look at the like red numbers, but like in the end, it was still a positive trade for me. But you always have like this idea, okay, I could have made X amount of money, and then you only make like less amount of money, but you still make money, but you only look at or focus on the like potential money that you could have made. I realized, okay, my process is still not perfect, and most likely it will never become like 100% perfect.
It doesn't exist.
So I realized, okay, I need to understand the political environment even more. And this basically led me onto a journey understanding global political like developments on a deep level and what they mean for like risk assets and markets in total. And in the end, like I'm going out of this like time even stronger with a better process. And next time when we have this political event, like 99% of people will not have adjusted their processes, meaning they will still lose money, but I will be on the safe side and will never lose money because of this specific situation again. So in the end, losses are an opportunity for you to figure out what is wrong about your current process. And if you don't have a process at all, this is where you should start.
This is a red flag.
Exactly. Then you don't know what you're doing. And like my little brother, by the way, asked me how he should start his investing journey, because he's now 18 and he had like downloaded this app to buy like stocks and stuff like this. And he was starting and asked me, okay, a friend told me about stock XYZ. And I said, like, the stock went down afterwards. And then I told him, okay, the first thing that you will do as an investor, if you really want to make money in it doesn't matter in which asset class, you need a process. And you find your process through either talking with people like us and improving it that way, or you do it like by making a lot of mistakes and coming out with a process which actually helps you like on the long term. So this is what I told him, like write down the process that you had for buying this stock. It was asking a friend for advice on which stock you should buy.
By the way, that's 90% of people.
Yeah. And I told him, okay, you didn't make money this way, so this process is not working. Now you could go on and say, okay, maybe I search for another guy.
You need a better friend.
Exactly. I need a better friend.
Smarter one.
This would be one way to deal with this loss. Or he says, okay, actually listening to people and getting advice on what I should buy is not really working. Maybe you realize that after you ask like 5 more friends. But like having like no matter what made you buy altcoins, you always have a process. Maybe you don't realize it. And if your process is listening to YouTubers or Twitter followers and you don't make money through them, then this process is shit and you should move on to like curating a better process. And the better process, in my opinion, is always to look at the data. And in my opinion, like this was one thing I realized when I had this loss. I wasn't looking at the political data and I just looked at crypto data, and there everything looked fine, but the political data was like really bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the end, like losses are just an opportunity to improve your processes. And no matter how, like in the best case scenario, you want to keep those losses as small as possible, which is also why you should never invest too much into altcoins, especially in the beginning of your journey, because you will make mistakes. And like what we do basically is just like we understand that we will make mistakes, which leads us to managing our position sizes in a way that we don't lose too much on an investment where we don't have like a certain process in place. So yeah, this is the lesson, like how I deal with losses. And like for me personally, it's just like creating better systems, creating better strategies. And by the way, if you want me to look over your portfolio and evaluate your current strategy, I will put a link below the video. I'm doing some portfolio reviews next week. So if you are lucky, I will look over your portfolio. All right. Do you want to add anything?
I think that's it. I think we've covered everything, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think losses are, I think we covered it pretty well.
That's
easily.
basically what you said. It's just bettering your systems and like what you said, like to not rely on other people.
Yeah.
To not rely on other people. We
biggest
could maybe make another video on that because it's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
But I think you said everything.
Yeah, like we could talk about this topic for real, like for hours, because we also work.
If you want to know more about it, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Damn, this was pretty decent DCT. Okay, so because we didn't do a podcast in a long time, maybe let's cover like some of the things that we did in the meantime. Also, like, yeah, we can talk for 10 more minutes because like we experienced a lot. Like the downturn was actually not that bad for us because we had like a lot of nice experience throughout that time.
All right.
Let's cover it in 2 sentences so people get also to know your personal life a bit.
Yeah, so I traveled a lot, like you as well. I saw my family, but yeah, obviously it's just I'm trying really hard to become the best investor I possibly can.
Yeah.
So right now I'm working on next level indicators, also combined with AI, and I'm doing that actually with students from us, which are in our group. So we're working together on that, and it's super fascinating. Like just getting even deeper into macro, look at all the possibilities, and I just want to. My main focus right now is using AI and IT, and even better signals to help me with my investment decisions, and that's what I've been working on really hard, and it's looking very good. And I think
I always saw it. Like it looks very interesting.
Crazy what you can do with AI these days. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I think it's going to give us an insane advantage over most people.
So right now, like you traveled, and right now, like Jack is working full time on indicators. For me personally, I was traveling a lot. I was traveling for the past 2 months. I always said it, like I was in the jungle, I was traveling on Sri Lanka, I was traveling in Dubai, I was in Germany, all around.
Everywhere.
I was everywhere basically. And like it really showed me like why we are doing what we are currently doing. Like having this freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want it, even if the market conditions are not the best ones. Like it's just, like it always gives me that motivation when I come back to sit in front of my desk and work for 12 hours nonstop, because this is also our life.
Yeah.
So
I saw the markets crash in the Maldives at like 6, 7 a.m. in my little desk. It was fun. Yeah, I'd rather watch the market crash from the Maldives than in Germany, where we used to live in our tiny apartment.
So things have turned to the better. So market crashes are not that bad anymore for us. All right. Yeah. And like what I'm working on right now is also like, as I always said, like improving my strategies, improving my like understanding of the like how I make decisions when it comes to the political environment and how this basically influences my investment decisions. And yeah, with that being said, I think we covered everything. Now you guys also know what goes on in our personal lives. And we are back at the perfect setup.
Back, finally.
Yeah. No more recording in the jungle, just recording in the perfect studio with optimal lighting. All right. So with that being said, guys, if you enjoyed this little podcast episode, let us know if you should do another one, because we thought it's actually very helpful, especially in those market circumstances where like people need guidance and we want to help people to the best of our possibilities. So if you want to work with us 24/7, then our program is the way. If you only want us to cover certain topics, let us know in the comments, and we will do this maybe on a weekly basis and try to cover as much as possible. So with that being said, see you in the next video.
See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.